Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how other people did the thing isn't doing the thing.
The only thing that's doing the thing is actually doing the thing. So that was an excerpt from The Strangest Loop that I recently heard on the Modern Wisdom podcast. And I thought it was crazy because it pretty much accurately portrayed my strategy when it comes to time management this year. So the past few years, I experimented a lot with a lot of different time management strategies, a lot of the efficient productivity kind of stuff. And I found that a lot of it really had me spending a lot of time just preparing, organizing, and planning, but not actually doing the work. A few weeks ago, I finished my second marathon in 2 months, which I trained for while balancing studying in medical school, making YouTube videos, weight training, and still having a social life. During this hectic period, I came up with my own time management system that was not only effective, but it was also very simple, very flexible, and it didn't have me feeling like a productivity robot. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, in the beginning of the video, I did say that the most important part of managing your time is actually taking action, and I stand by that. But it is still important to get organized and develop a strategy for yourself. So I divide my planner into 3 sections. It's the important dates, the weekly agenda, and the daily agenda. I take note of anything that's important that's coming up and put that in the important dates portion, obviously, and then fill it into the weekly agenda when it's approaching that week. For example, I have an exam on the 28th. Every night before I shut down for the day, I build my daily agenda starting with whatever important dates that I have listed. I do like scheduling the next day at night because I like to wake up knowing exactly what to expect. I like to go to bed knowing how I should prepare myself in the morning. And if I'm having a busy day, I kind of like to know that I'm having a busy day and not suddenly realize I'm having a busy day the morning of. Now, when I schedule my day, the next thing that I put in my schedule is going to be my non-negotiables. These are very important, time-sensitive things that I can't finish the day without doing first. The kicker is the only non-negotiable things that I put into my non-negotiables list are going to be things that I can't miss, right? Mandatory quizzes, mandatory labs, lectures, anything like that that I can't miss for school, they go in my non-negotiables. Other than that, nothing else school related. So I'm fortunate enough to not have to go to my lectures at school because most of them are not mandatory. They're recorded and I can just watch them from home. So if that's not the case for you, you're gonna have to work with whatever your curriculum allows. The things that are included in my non-negotiables is lifting weights, my running workout, and protected time with my girlfriend at the end of the day. So these are things that I value, have committed myself to, and prioritize because in my head, it's me taking back my time. Next, I add in the high priority items that aren't necessarily non-negotiable. These are things like the lectures that are scheduled that day, any extracurricular work with the club that I'm part of, reviewing lectures and actually studying, and working on content. On a side note, I do have a lecture tracker for myself that tracks where I am with certain lectures I can show you guys. The goal is to watch each lecture, then review the content 3 separate times before every exam, which I'm able to mark by clicking a few buttons. Do I actually get 3 passes every single time? Absolutely not, but it's just a goal that I work towards. And obviously we have the low priority list, which are just things that we would love to do if we had time to do, but it doesn't always happen. For me, these things include playing video games and trying out some of my smaller hobbies. Important to note here that I'm talking about the hobbies that don't matter as much to you. Notice that I put working out and running on my non-negotiable list. I put anime on my high priority list, and that's because I enjoy these things. So if I'm looking forward to them, why would I not prioritize them?
I'll be there at the after party. Show up looking like a zombie. It don't matter, nobody stop me. I'll be there, just tell me when.
Now, the last part of the organizing portion is how you fit it all in. I used to fall into the trap of having very specific time frames and time blocks for every single activity that I do. Every single task that I needed to get done that day, anything that I wanted to engage in, I had a specific time for that task. That didn't really work out for me, obviously, because it was just a bit too rigid, and if things came up, and things always came up, I would have to move everything down and my entire day would have to be flipped around, dissected, and it just didn't work out very well. What I do now is a lot more simple, it's a lot more flexible, and honestly, it's a lot more effective. I break my days up into 4 separate segments: my morning routine, my morning working block, my afternoon working block, and my evening flex time. So my morning routine is things that I do for myself to get me ready for the day and get me primed to take on the day. I wake up at 6, go to the gym to lift weights, do cardio, eat breakfast, and get ready for the day. I usually try to cap this time at 9. And I actually found really good results from doing this and not doing any schoolwork during this time and just having that time dedicated towards me. The only exception to this rule was when I was in the thick of marathon training and I had to run 60, 70 miles in a week and not enough time in a day to do that. So what I did was take my flashcards from my iPad and put it onto my treadmill, and I did my running while I was doing flashcards. So that's one exception to the rule, but besides that, I really don't like doing any schoolwork during this protected time. During the morning working block, I usually try to tackle tasks that are more consistent and predictable. This time is usually from 9 to 1 p.m., and this includes doing my flashcards, doing practice questions, and reviewing the answers, and then watching lectures. If there's an anime episode that comes out in the morning, like Jujutsu Kaisen premieres at 12 p.m. on Thursdays, I'll schedule that in too. I found a lot of success, not just scheduling in my work, but scheduling in my fun and prioritizing that too. My afternoon working blocks are a bit more variable because sometimes during the week I have labs, mandatory lectures, meetings, and things like that. So that's usually the time I try to schedule those for if possible. That way I know in the afternoon I'll be moving around a little bit. So I schedule this time from 1 to 7 p.m. and this is where I finish the lectures. I attend mandatory lectures that I have to go to, attend the labs that I have to go to, do any extracurricular work and things like that. 7 p.m. is my evening flex time, and it's exactly what it sounds like, right? Usually I'm done studying by then, so I just use this time as a creative block for myself to script ideas, hang out with friends, and overall just chill. This time is also available for studying if I'm falling behind, but I usually don't like to study after 8 p.m., but sometimes life happens. So when I put my daily tasks into these categories, it becomes a to-do list, and that's it. I have X amount of hours to get X amount of tasks done. In the past, I thought it was super helpful to pack your schedule as much as possible. That way, if you're aiming for the stars, you'll end up on a cloud, that kind of thing, but in reality, it just kind of made me feel really bogged down, really overwhelmed, and kind of got in the way of me actually being productive. I also felt that packing my schedule for the sake of packing my schedule was diminishing the quality of work that I was doing because I was just focused on getting the tasks done, that I wasn't letting myself be completely immersed by the task. Now that doesn't mean go crazy either and give yourself 6 hours to do one task that shouldn't take that long, right? You should try to get a realistic gauge on how long it's going to take you. My personal sweet spot is give yourself 5 to 10 minutes between tasks and get it all done within the morning working block or the afternoon working block. 5 to 10 minutes, that way if you need a little break, if you are running a little late, whatever, you have a little bit of a buffer and you're not just always falling behind every single day. This productivity-driven world and this social media space for productivity, or whatever you want to call it, I feel like there's a tendency to over-analyze, over-optimize, and basically just treat yourself like a robot. People tend to forget that we're humans and we have human psychology. For me personally, I like feeling like I'm crushing my day and I'm doing a really good job. It makes me work harder and it doesn't drain me as much while I'm doing a bunch of tasks. If I feel like the day's crushing me, I'm not gonna do as well, but that's just me. Now, the most important thing about this time management strategy is actually taking action. So it's not good enough just to plan and organize. You actually have to take action and actually do the task. You have to remember that scheduling time, making to-do lists, and watching videos on how other people organize and manage their time, that doesn't actually matter, that doesn't actually do anything unless you actually take action. Once I have my templates created, once I have my system in place, that's really it. There's no fancy colors, there's no over-the-top trackers, there's no metronome on my watch to really get down with the time and really micromanaging myself. There's none of that, right? It's just taking action. Take time, make your calendar look really nice if you want to, make your notes look really nice if you want to, but just remember that what actually matters is having it concise, having it organized, and just maximizing your ability to actually do the work that's gonna get the return that you want, right? It's not just getting organized and making it look nice, but it's actually setting yourself up for success. Now, when I'm actually in the trenches in the middle of a task, let's say watching a lecture, for example, I'm not just passively watching and going through the motions. I'm actively trying to do something. This can mean making flashcards, reorganizing the information into table form, or coming up with practice questions. And I'm doing this because not only does it help me make sense of the lecture, help me understand the content of the material, but it actually saves me time because I don't have to go back and make a study guide. It's already made for me. And again, that way I don't have to waste time making study guides. I can use my time to actually study and get the information into my head. Whether you're a student or not, the message is still the same, and I think it's a universal lesson that can apply. It's don't just prepare to do the thing, don't just get organized, actually spend time doing the thing. Set yourself up in advance, that way you're able to spend more time doing the actual tasks that will yield you the results that you want. So there's a quote that I recently heard that says, "The magic that you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding." And that really resonated with me. For such a long time, I feel like I tricked myself into being productive in the wrong things and spent so much time planning and organizing and preparing to do the thing instead of actually doing the tasks that yielded the results that I wanted. I would come up with these super elaborate study plans, study ideas, these super colorful calendars and study guides, and just doing everything I can to avoid actually studying. And I made myself feel like I was being productive because making study guides is productive. Making a study plan or a workout plan is productive, but it's not actually, right? What's actually productive is actually doing the work. If this was just my story, and if you can relate to this in any kind of way, maybe you can try this system and see if it works for you. It's super simple and it might even be a bit underwhelming, but that's kind of the point. Planning is good, having a methodical approach to your goals is even better. But what really matters is doing the work that it takes to get there. Leave a comment down below if you guys manage your time differently, because I'd still love to learn from you guys and see if there's anything that you guys do that I could implement into my own plan. So leave that down below. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you guys next time.